everyone. My name is Sanjay Sister. I am an engineer and MBA by education, business strategy consultant by profession, and an author by volition. I recently wrote a book called The Circle of Life. It is my personal journey from childhood trauma, everything from physical abuse to emotional neglect to sexual abuse, um, and the repercussions of it over the last 2 decades, 2 or 3 decades, and how I've sort of managed to get out of it, as it were. Um, and I want to talk about this because during that journey, what I realized is that every time I have voiced my emotions and feelings, I saw that people never took it seriously. It would either get disregarded by people, or in worst case, it was also ridiculed sometimes. And I believe that that's something that needs to change in society, because if you look at the rates of suicide in men, we are basically about 4x, 4 times as many men committing suicide as opposed to women, even though there's twice as many women who are diagnosed with mental health conditions. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that, but I think the prime is that men are not expected to have emotions, and it starts very early in our childhood. As boys, we are told that boys don't cry. As men, we are expected to man up, and it's almost as if we shouldn't be emotional. We need to just get on with life without any emotion. And what that does is most men end up in some sort of depression, which is constant literally through their life. But they don't even know about it because they don't talk about it, they don't get it diagnosed, and hence they even have twice the number of diagnosed mental health conditions. So it's like a cyclical problem, because we don't talk about it, it gets worse. Then we don't want to talk about it because it's now worse. And that's what happened with me. But thankfully, I was quite vocal about it with my friends, and that helped me, move on and figure things out, and sort of, manage the situation with my family, where my parents basically were only, bothered about whether I would have a career or not, having been diagnosed with complex PTSD. My wife was thinking that I'm going mental, and that's what she would say. So there's like and it's not their fault, right? We need to understand that it's not their fault. It's just that they have been conditioned that way by society, by the structure that we are in. And change needs to begin at home, and that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to sensitize them towards the fact that these are serious things that we're talking about. And there is no reason why a girl's or a woman's emotion needs to be more important than a man's emotion, but that's just the way we've been trained. And so I've been trying to sensitize them. It's a difficult process, but it's slowly but steadily working. And and to that end, I believe that we all need to start working on this at home. If you have a son, you need to make sure that he is given the opportunity to voice his emotions, to talk about what's going on, and he feels respected, appreciated, that somebody is empathizing with him and they're there for him. And I think that is where it needs to start, because by the time we're old, change is very difficult to get by anyway. So to sort of support this, what I'm also doing is I've started a channel on YouTube called InvisibleTears, and I called it so because men cry a lot. It's just that their tears are not visible, because they're not supposed to show emotion. They're not supposed to show weakness. And so I've called it Invisible Tears because of that, where I want to invite men to talk about their life, their situation, their emotions, in a safe environment where nobody's judging them. They feel like they're being heard. They get the support they need, and also develop a community where people can help each other, navigate these problems, as it were. Um, and I guess through that, I also want to then sensitize, women, mothers, sisters, friends, to give a little bit more credence and importance to how men feel in situations. Maybe sometimes, every now and then, ask the guy that how is he feeling, instead of just talking about politics and football, as it were, as a cliche goes. And this becomes very important, especially during Corona, obviously, because if you think about how men generally have a lot of mental health issues and they don't talk about it, and it creates a lot of trouble. Corona is just making it worse, right? We're in a scenario where people are not allowed to socialize, they're not willing to socialize, and men were never talking about this even when socialization was allowed. So I think it just becomes even more important for spouses, sisters, mothers to be cognizant of the fact that there are going to be emotions that are running through, the guy's head, whether it's a brother or a husband, or a friend. And unlike women, they probably won't talk unless they are asked to talk about it, unless they feel they're safe to talk about it. So creating that environment at home is something that I think is quite important during these COVID times. And God knows how long this is going to last. So might as well start now. Well, with that, I'll take your leave, and thank you very much for listening. And I hope that this message lands with all the listeners, and we all start doing our little bit to support mental health. Thank you.